Welcome to Pennywise Books, where we turn timeless books into rich, engaging conversations that feed your mind. If you've ever wished for full book value with zero reading, you're exactly where you need to be. Settle in. Today's book might just unlock a new way of seeing money. And if you find this useful, insightful, or even just a little inspiring, go ahead and subscribe. It helps more curious minds find us too. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to really get under the skin of some compelling ideas on strategy, human behavior, that kind of thing.
And today, we're tackling something pretty intense.
Yeah, you can say that. We're diving into the mechanics of influence, how people get ahead, the raw realities of competition.
Our main source material is Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. It's controversial for a reason.
It's not really about being nice, is it?
Not at all. Think of it less as a moral guide and more like an operational manual for understanding power, how to get it, how to keep it. It means kind of stripping away the idealism.
Right. And just to be clear, we're not saying we agree with all this Machiavellian stuff. Our mission here is to unpack the strategies the psychology Greene lays out.
Exactly. We're looking at the historical examples, the anecdotes he uses to see how things like perception, timing, influence, how they actually work to give people an edge.
It all starts with this core idea, which is pretty stark, pulled from Machiavelli, right?
Yeah. Greene leans on him heavily. The basic premise is if you want to hold on to authority, you, quote, must learn how not to be good.
Oof. Learn how not to be good.
And know when to use that knowledge, or crucially, when not to use it, depending on what's necessary.
So forget morality contests. Power is a strategic game.
That's the absolute key takeaway from the sources. It is a game. And your feelings, your sense of fairness, getting personally offended, those are liabilities in this game.
You have to be detached.
Totally detached. Observe the outward circumstances, watch the results of moves, and critically take nothing personally. The second you let emotion drive your strategy,
You've lost. Someone else will use it against you.
Bingo! You introduce randomness, and that's fatal.
Okay. So if detachment and pure strategy are the rules, where do we start building the toolkit? Or maybe the armor?
The absolute foundation, Law 5, is reputation. It's everything.
The cornerstone of power, as Greene puts it.
Exactly. It has to be unassailable, because the moment it weakens, you're exposed. Attacks come from everywhere.
It's like a shield then. Not just what people think, but it dictates how they treat you.
Precisely. And sometimes, counterintuitively, the fastest way to build your own reputation is actually to tear down someone else's. P.T. Barnum is the classic case study here.
Barnum, the showman, trying to buy the American Museum back in, what, 1841?
That's the one. He had a deal, verbally anyway. But the owners looked at him and thought, this guy. No track record, no standing in respectable circles.
So they backed out.
Yep. And sold it instead to the guys running Peale's Museum, who did have a solid reputation. Barnum knew he couldn't compete on reputation directly.
So if you can't build yours up, knock theirs down.
That was the move. He went on an absolute offensive in the papers. Total character assassination.
Didn't go after the museum itself, though.
Nope. Went after the owners, called them broken down bank directors, basically painted them as financial failures trying to pass as cultural figures. Unstable, unreliable.
Wow. A sort of early, brutal PR campaign. And because Peale's had a reputation.
They were vulnerable, much more than Barnum the outsider. It worked like a charm. Public trust in Peale's just evaporated. Stock price tanked.
And the museum owners got spooked.
Absolutely. Didn't want to be associated with these broken-down directors. They canceled the Peale's deal and sold to Barnum. It's a key point Greene makes. If you have less power, attacking a rival's reputation is a really potent weapon. They have more to lose.
Okay, but then what happens once you have the solid reputation? Like Barnum eventually did.
Yeah.
The advice changes, right? You don't defend anymore.
Right. That's the interesting flip. Once you're established, getting defensive about attacks actually makes you look weak, insecure. Like maybe the rumors are true.
So you embrace it, even the negative stuff.
Yeah. Barnum even leaned into being called a humbug. Any attention, Greene argues, ultimately reinforces your status. It keeps your name out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, welcome the attacks, in a way. It all will work in your favor.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's shift that idea of perception to hierarchies. Bosses and subordinates. Law 1. Never outshine the master.
Oh, this one's critical for anyone working their way up. Flaunt your talents too much. Make yourself look too good.
And you make the boss nervous.
Exactly. It triggers fear and insecurity.
Yeah.
They hired you, right? If you suddenly look too brilliant, They might worry they made a mistake, that you're after their job.
So it's not about being incompetent. It's about managing how your competence is seen, making the boss look good.
That's it, precisely. You have to actively make the master appear more brilliant. Let them take the credit. You're the secret ingredient to their success. The classic example is Galileo with the Medicis.
Right. Galileo needed their support when he went back to Florence. Wanted a proper job, salary.
And how did he get it? Not by showing off his latest telescope or some amazing discovery, no. He understood the Medicis. They didn't really care about empirical truth.
They cared about legacy, glory.
Bingo. So Galileo linked their family name to the stars, to cosmic forces. He basically said, your name is written in the heavens, naming Jupiter's moons after them.
Giving them glory on a scale far beyond any earthly invention.
Infinitely grander. It's a deep psychological insight. Masters crave validation of their status, their glory, more than competence or truth. Let them wear your achievements like their own crown, and you secure your place. It's about trading short-term ego for long-term strategic position.
Become an asset, not a threat. Okay, this leads us to something, well, pretty cynical but powerful. Selective honesty.
Yeah, this is advanced manipulation. The idea is that just one genuinely honest, sincere move can whitewash dozens of dishonest ones.
It catches people off guard.
Completely. Especially suspicious people. In a world where they expect deceit, a single act of apparent honesty is shocking, and it lowers their defenses.
And the story of Count Lustig tricking Al Capone illustrates this perfectly. Capone must have been one of the most paranoid men alive.
Absolutely. Lived his life surrounded by betrayal, in the company of wolves, as the source says, constantly mistrusting everyone. Lustig, this master con artist, knew Capone's paranoia was deep, but also exhausting for Capone.
Constantly being suspicious takes energy.
Right. So Lustig gets $5,000 from Capone, supposedly for some investment. But then, before the con plays out, Lustig goes back to Capone.
And gives the money back.
Gives it back, apologizes profusely, says the deal went south, claims he failed Capone.
Which, of course, he hadn't. That was the move.
Brilliant, wasn't it? Capone sees this someone actually returning money, showing apparent remorse, unheard of. He ends up trusting Lustig more than before.
Because Lustig seemed like the one honest guy in a den of thieves.
Exactly. Capone was starved for sincerity. Lustig's performance, this one honest act, made him seem reliable. Lustig played the honest rogue, and Capone, tired of vetting liars, bought it completely. It shows how you control perception with calculated, unexpected sincerity.
It's a fascinating lesson. Sometimes what you don't do, like not completing the con, is more powerful, returning the money with the real prize.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's move from perception to actually influencing behavior. Law 9 warns against winning through argument. Why is that a Pyrrhic victory?
Because arguments, even when you win them logically, create resentment. You might prove your point, but you've wounded the other person's ego, made them feel stupid or inferior.
And they won't forget that feeling.
Never. They might agree on the surface, but underneath, they resent you for it. The smarter way, Greene says, is to demonstrate, do not explicate. Show, don't tell.
Move it from an ego battle in the mind to something observable, practical.
Exactly. Look at Michelangelo and that block of marble in Florence, the one that became David. Another sculptor had already botched it. It was seen as ruined. The mayor, Soderini, was ready to just scrap it.
And Michelangelo wanted the commission. But arguing about his skill wouldn't work.
Right. Soderini would just dig his heels in. So Michelangelo didn't argue. He just showed up, took a chisel, and appeared to lightly chip away at a small spot. He didn't need to do much.
Just the appearance of competence.
The confidence, the surety of his movement. Soderini saw it immediately. No argument needed. The action, however small, was convincing. He got the commission right then and there.
He demonstrated the outcome instead of debating the process. Brilliant.
And that connects really well to Law 13. When you need help, appeal purely to self-interest. Forget mercy. Forget gratitude.
This feels like a core principle in negotiation or sales, too. Focus on their benefit, not your need.
It's harsh, maybe, but realistic according to Greene. People tend to ignore appeals based on past favors or abstract gratitude. It feels like an obligation, a cost.
But acting in their own self-interest feels like a gain.
Exactly. So you have to find something in your request, some angle, some benefit, even if it's subtle, that serves them. And then you amplify that benefit, make it the focus.
The example from the Peloponnesian War is stark. Corinth and Corcyra both wanted Athens as an ally.
Right. Corinth came saying, hey, remember when we helped you? We have history, loyalty, appealing to gratitude.
And Coursera.
Coursera came with a cold, hard calculation. Ally with us, and look how much your power increases. Our navy adds to yours, strengthens your geopolitical reach, boosts your economy. Pure self-interest for Athens.
And the Athenians, being pragmatic.
They didn't blink. They debated it, sure, but the vote was overwhelmingly for Coursera. Why? Because it made Athens stronger. History and gratitude didn't stand a chance against tangible self-interest.
So appeal to gain, not obligation. Okay, once you've got someone on board through their self-interest, how do you make it stick? Turn compliance into loyalty. Law 43 talks about coercion versus seduction.
Yeah, this is crucial. Force, coercion, it only works while the threat is there. And it always breeds resentment and a desire for revenge down the line.
But seduction, that's different.
The seduction aims for loyalty. It's about working on their psychology, their emotions, their weaknesses, softening them up, not beating them down.
The story of Chuko Liang and King Mengwo around AD 225 is amazing here, trying to pacify this barbarian king.
His advisors basically said, look, you can conquer him by force, but he'll just rebel again the moment you turn your back. It's pointless.
So what was the alternative?
The advice was incredible. It is better to win hearts than cities. Liang understood true control meant getting inside Mengwo's head, so he started this bizarre campaign.
He captured Mengwo.
Captured him, treated him with respect, showed him kindness, and then let him go.
And did this repeatedly.
7 times, the story goes. 7 captures, 7 releases.
It seems completely nuts from a military perspective.
But it was pure psychological warfare. By consistently choosing restraint and respect over brute force, Liang broke Mengwo's will to resist. He eroded his defiance. Eventually, Mengwo just gave up fighting him psychologically, swore eternal loyalty.
Won his heart, not just the battle. Seduction creates a willing follower, not just a temporary captive.
Exactly. It turns an enemy into a loyal asset.
And to pull off that kind of high-level influence, you need intel. Which brings us to Law 33. Find everyone's thumbscrew.
Everyone, Greene argues, has a hidden vulnerability. An insecurity, a secret fear, maybe an uncontrollable emotion, a small pleasure they can't resist. Find that.
And you have leverage. A thumbscrew you can turn to your advantage.
Right. And people hide these things well, so you look for clues in the small things, the things they can't consciously control. A flicker of insecurity, a moment of vanity they try to suppress.
The example of Irving Lazar, the agent, and Jack Warner, the studio head, this one is just wild.
Oh, it's pure theater. Lazar needed to sell something valuable to Warner. Warner was old, powerful, but Lazar knew his specific weakness. Warner was incredibly vain and deeply embarrassed about being seen naked.
A very specific thumbscrew. So Lazar didn't book a meeting at the office.
No. He tracked Warner down, waited until Warner was at this exclusive spa in Palm Springs for the weekend. Then he timed it perfectly.
And approached him in the baths.
Both completely naked, Lazar launches right into his pitch.
Oh my God. The sheer audacity.
It was psychological genius. Lazar knew Warner would be so mortified, so desperate to end the excruciating awkwardness of that public exposure, that he'd agree to almost anything just to make Lazar go away.
The leverage wasn't the deal itself. It was Warner's vanity and embarrassment.
Exactly. The thumbscrew was Warner's physical self-consciousness.
And it worked.
Instantly, Warner just said yes to get out of there. Later, when someone asked Lazar how he pulled off the deal, he supposedly just said, "In the buff, that's how." It shows, find that one hidden nerve, and you bypass all the usual negotiation tactics.
Incredible. Okay, let's zoom out to bigger, longer-term strategies. Independence seems key. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone.
Right. Committing too early or too deeply ties your fate to someone else's. It makes you vulnerable if they fall. Greene calls the person who rushes to take sides a fool.
Because you become disposable.
Whereas if you stay independent, aloof, you're the one everyone wants on their side to become the master of others, playing them against each other, potentially.
The uncommitted person survives the purges.
Look at Henry Kissinger during the whole Nixon Watergate implosion. Chaos, people falling left and right. But Kissinger...
He survived, even served under Ford afterwards.
Yeah. He was incredibly careful not to seem too personally loyal to Nixon. He kept lines open everywhere, across the political aisle. He made himself indispensable to so many different foreign policy threads that getting rid of him would have caused more problems than keeping him.
His distance was his shield. Made him too valuable to discard easily.
Exactly. His help wasn't so easily obtained that it lost its value. Strategic aloofness.
But that aloofness needs to be paired with focus, right? Law 23, concentrate your forces.
Absolutely. Intensity beats extensity every time. Spreading yourself thin over many shallow pursuits achieves very little, but focusing all your energy single-mindedly on one rich area, that's where the real gains are.
Like digging one deep mine instead of lots of shallow holes. A warning against being a jack of all trades, maybe.
In a strategic sense, yes. That relentless focus is like an arrow hitting the bullseye. The Rothschild family's rise is the prime example.
But didn't Mayor Anschel's sons spread out across Europe? London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna? That sounds like spreading thin.
But the concentration came from their coordination. By having brothers strategically placed in all the key financial centers, they weren't tied to the fortunes of just one country.
They could act as one unit, globally.
Precisely. If there was a crisis in, say, Paris, the brothers in London and Frankfurt could coordinate, pool resources, and move in to buy assets cheap. They concentrated their collective power wherever the opportunity or weakness was greatest. It was single-minded purpose applied across the whole system.
That coordination gave them immense power. But even with that power, there's a crucial warning. Law 47. Knowing when to stop. Don't go past the mark.
This might be one of the most important and most ignored laws. Victory itself is dangerous. It breeds arrogance, overconfidence. You get caught up in the momentum and push too far.
And end up creating more enemies than you defeated.
Exactly. The moment you win big, you suddenly look like a threat to everyone else. The spotlight turns harsh.
The story of the Count of Carmagnola, the general working for Venice, it's chilling.
It really is. Carmagnola wins this huge, decisive victory for Venice against Florence in 1442. A hero. He's summoned back to Venice, supposedly for celebrations, a fancy dinner with the Doge.
Sounds great, but...
But as the guards are leading him through the palace, he realizes they're taking a different route. Not towards the banquet hall, straight across the Bridge of Sighs, to the dungeons. They cooked up some treason charges, and he was publicly beheaded just days later.
Why? Because he was too successful.
His victory had served its purpose, but his continued success, his military power, now made him the biggest threat to the rulers of Venice. They couldn't risk his ambition.
So they eliminated the threat they had created. He didn't know when to step back.
He went past the mark, became too powerful for his master's comfort. The lesson is brutal. Set your goal, achieve it, and then know when to fade back, maybe, before your success makes you a target.
Against all this plotting and potential danger, the ultimate defense seems to be flexibility. Law 48. Assume formlessness.
Yes. Having a rigid plan, a predictable shape, makes you easy to attack. Your enemies know where to hit you. You need to be like water fluid, adaptable, unpredictable.
Stability is an illusion.
Definitely. Never bet on things staying the same. The sources contrast Western strategy, like chess, with Eastern strategy, like the game Go or Weiqi.
Chess is linear.
Right. Yeah.
Attack the king, capture pieces, hold positions.
Right. Very direct, very focused on fixed points. Go is completely different. It's about flow, surrounding territory, mobility. Less about direct confrontation, more about psychological encirclement, isolating the opponent's mind.
Creating confusion and collapse rather than just killing pieces.
Exactly. General Mao used this against the nationalists in China, this sort of jigsaw pattern warfare, appearing, disappearing, using propaganda, guerrilla tactics. Chiang Kai-shek just saw chaos, incompetence.
But it was deliberate formlessness.
Making himself impossible to pin down, impossible to predict. When you seem formless, your enemy exhausts themselves trying to figure you out, and in doing so, they reveal their plans. Rigidity always breaks eventually. Fluidity survives.
Okay, let's bring this into the realm of money, value, transactions. Law 40. Despise the free lunch.
A fundamental principle. Anything offered for free usually comes with strings attached. A trick or a hidden obligation.
So, paying your own way protects you.
It maintains your independence. You avoid the entanglement of gratitude or guilt or the potential for manipulation later on. You keep the relationship clear.
There's that Japanese proverb mentioned. Nothing is more costly than something given free of charge.
Perfectly captures it. Accepting a gift creates a psychological debt. And that debt can be called in when it's least convenient, often at a much higher price than the original gift. Sometimes just paying full price up front is actually the cheapest, cleanest way.
And this connects to the story of Ella Moody, the scholar who charged for his knowledge.
Right. Someone challenged him, saying knowledge should be free. But Ella Moody argued back that by charging, he was actually affirming the value. More than that, he said someone who offers something valuable for nothing
is suspicious.
Under the gravest suspicion. Why are they doing it? What's their hidden motive? Maybe it's not valuable knowledge at all, or worse, maybe they have some malicious intent. Paying creates a clear transaction, removes suspicion. Value is linked to cost.
Okay, but then how does strategic generosity, even waste, fit in?
Hmm.
Like Baron de Rothschild using his wealth to gain social acceptance in Paris.
Ah, that's the other side of the coin, the potlatch effect. Rothschild was an outsider, immensely wealthy, yes, but that wealth itself could be seen negatively by the established French aristocracy.
So he didn't just quietly buy influence?
No, he threw these incredibly lavish, over-the-top parties, spent insane amounts of money, literally wasted huge sums, the sources say. Best food, best music, everything ridiculously opulent.
Like the potlatch ceremonies where chiefs would destroy wealth to show status.
Exactly, it was a symbolic act. By publicly, extravagantly wasting money, Rothschild was sending a message. I value your culture, your society even more than my vast fortune. My wealth is so great, I can afford to burn it for your pleasure.
It's a power move, disguised as generosity, demonstrating confidence and dominance.
It showed he wasn't defined or constrained by his money. It helped overcome the social barriers his outsider status created. Strategic, lavish generosity can be a tool for establishing dominance.
Fascinating. Okay, one last crucial psychological defense. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Deflecting envy.
Envy is maybe the most insidious and dangerous emotion to stir up because people envy things they feel they can never attain: natural talent, effortless grace, sheer brilliance.
Sir Walter Raleigh is the cautionary tale. Too perfect, too talented.
Yeah, his natural gifts apparently inspired this toxic level of envy that ultimately contributed to his downfall. It's dangerous to seem flawless.
So, if you are brilliant or highly successful, you need to, what, pretend to have flaws.
Essentially, yes. Display a defect or two, as Greene puts it. Humanize yourself. Give people something relatable, something less intimidating. Make yourself seem less like a god and more like a fellow mortal.
And there are strategies for managing the envy that success inevitably brings.
Definitely. Sir Francis Bacon suggested one approach. Cultivate pity.
Pity.
Yeah.
Does that work?
You frame your success as a huge burden. Talk about the sacrifices, the stress, the hard work, the sleepless nights. Oh, it's not all glamour, you know? It shifts the narrative from, look how great I am, to look how much I suffer for this.
Turns potential envy into sympathy or even admiration for your resilience.
Right. People are less likely to tear down someone they feel sorry for. Another way, shown by Simon in Athens.
Was just to spread the wealth around.
Constantly, lavishly. Give gifts, support public works, make it clear that your good fortune benefits them too. Simon basically bought off the public's envy with continuous generosity. It cost him a lot, but it kept him safe from the banishment that hit other powerful figures. It was like a tax he paid on being superior.
Wow. Okay, wrapping this all up, what's the big picture lesson from diving into these, frankly, quite dark strategies?
I think the absolute core takeaway running through almost every law is the critical need for psychological awareness. It's not just about history or grand strategy.
It's awareness on two levels, right? Yourself and others.
Exactly. First, know yourself. Control your own emotional reactions: anger, arrogance, fear. Don't rely on gut instinct. It's usually flawed. Second, relentlessly study others. Understand their vanity, their insecurities, their hidden motivations. Find those chinks in their armor.
That failure of self-awareness, letting emotion take over. Napoleon's outburst at Talleyrand is such a perfect example.
Oh, textbook. Napoleon just loses it. Screams insults, calls Talleyrand shit in a silk stocking in front of everyone.
And Talleyrand, the master of detachment.
Stood there calmly, completely unflustered, didn't react. Later, he just coolly remarks something like, "What a pity such a great man has such bad manners."
That non-reaction was the ultimate power play.
Totally. Napoleon, by getting personal, by letting anger dictate his actions, just showed his hand. He became predictable. Talleyrand won that exchange without raising his voice. Power, as Greene presents it, isn't about shouting loudest. It's seduction, maneuvering, staying cool.
And the sources constantly emphasize getting real knowledge about people, not just guessing. Never rely on your instincts. So, if someone like Kissinger used formlessness to navigate Washington, and Lustig used fake honesty to fool Capone.
It really brings it back to us, doesn't it? What mask, what performance is needed for your situation today? When do you need to play the innocent, or the loyal soldier, or the unpredictable force?
Which role puts your opponent off balance and protects your own path?
The answer, according to this framework, is always strategic. It depends entirely on the game board in front of you.
Well, plenty to think about there. Until next time, stay observant, stay detached, and maybe play the game wisely.
Thanks for taking the deep dive with us.